Kipling. It goes like this. When you're wounded and down on the Afghan plain, and the women come out to cut up your remains, just roll on your rifle and blow out your brains and go to your God like a soldier. That stark verse was a description of what happened to the British Empire when they felt that moving into Afghanistan would be part of their record of conquest. They learned otherwise. The retreat from Kabul has been reported over and over, but it basically was a retreat that killed every remaining British soldier, every member of their family, save one. They wanted one person, the Afghans did, to return to Queen Victoria and tell her what happened when they threw the British out of Afghanistan. A similar story can be told by the Soviet Union, now Russia. When they occupied Afghanistan with visions of changing that country forever to a Russian communist mode, they left bitterly disappointed, paying a heavy price. So 20 years ago, in the wake of 9/11, with 3,000 innocent Americans dead, we debated the issue on this floor as to whether the United States would follow the British and the Russians into Afghanistan. I was here. I was asked to vote, and I remember why I voted yes. It was simple. Those responsible for 9/11 and the deaths of 3,000 innocent Americans were holed up in Afghanistan, building their forces to strike us again. Would we respond? The answer was obvious, yes. No one gets away with that sort of an attack on the United States. And I voted for us to send our forces into Afghanistan. I dare say that neither I nor anyone else who voted for that decision ever dreamed that 20 years later we would still be in Afghanistan, having lost more than 2,000 American lives of the brave women and men who serve in our military there. Tens of thousands of people injured, trillions of American dollars spent with virtually nothing to show for it. What we learned, the bitter lesson for America, as it was for Great Britain and the Russians, is that Afghanistan has no appetite for outsiders. We tried to bring them dramatic, positive improvements in their culture and education, liberation of women, creating new opportunities, and maybe we had some marginal success. But it's a battle when you try to change a nation's ethic, and we learned it the hard way. At the briefing today, one of our colleagues, whom I respect very much, Senator Kaine from Virginia, I thought asked the most important question about the current situation in Afghanistan. He said it was his understanding that the United States had spent billions, maybe more, in the training and equipping of the Afghan military forces supporting the government, and that we had in fact trained and equipped over 100,000, maybe as many as 300,000 of these Afghan security forces. And now they are losing territory and melding away into the landscape when they are under attack by the Taliban. And Senator Kaine said, I understand that there are only tens of thousands of Taliban and hundreds of thousands of Afghan security forces, and it appears we cannot hold our ground despite all the training, all the money. Was this a failure of training or more? And those representing the administration were very candid. It's not a failure of training. It is a mission that frankly cannot be accomplished. So when I hear the senator from Kentucky coming to the floor and begging us to stay, to what end? For what purpose? Senator Kaine, myself, and others invited him and the entire Senate to openly debate this question on the authorization for use of force in Afghanistan. There was resistance. And the idea of actually finally leaving Afghanistan after 20 years wasn't an original Joe Biden idea. If you'll remember, it was Republican President Donald Trump who actively engaged in the negotiation, picking a target date for our troops to be gone. He tried and wanted to achieve that before he left office. He didn't, but it was clearly his intent. So to blame the Biden administration for this decision, frankly, it's a decision that has been obvious for almost 10 years. There comes a point when we have to acknowledge that we cannot ask another American to die in a vain effort to change Afghanistan into a modern nation. It will only come when the Afghan people reach that conclusion. Mr. President, I ask an opportunity to speak on a different topic.
Without objection.